Hi guys, welcome back to the What Life. We have 20 seconds before we roll out on the Zwift Racing monthly race. It's OG Racing London Classic. All the information that I have in front of me is wrong. It says it's meant to be 3 laps. In the description for the race it says 2 laps. I'm pretty sure we ended up doing 4 laps. It's 22 Ks, 33.6 miles. I'm calling this video a secret Zwift hack, and stick around. I'm not going to kind of leave you hanging on to why. Basically, it's to do with the game dynamics, and I want to get your opinion on it. There's certain corners where I don't think the game dynamics really kind of computes wattage very well. So if you put wattage going into a corner, you can literally half turn, crank a half turn, and you can really make the most of like U-turns and really sharp bends. And I'll show you a few examples in the race. So just in case anyone thinks I'm, kind of goading people into watching a video, there's like, you'll see 3 examples where I do it in this race to really good effect. And basically it takes me from mid-pack to front pack without actually having to do too much work. So anyone that's watching this race and you saw me leading out of the last U-turn corner, that wasn't like intentional. That was just because I put in like a cheeky half turn on the pedals. And then the game dynamics just kind of pushed me to the front. It's really interesting. Anyway, we're on the London course. I love London. I love racing in London, mostly because I am from London. And this was my commute route every day. This is Lower Thames Street, going through the city. I see Zwift's changed a few things up. There's a few different changes to the Zwift world, the Zwift London world. For instance, these white things now on the ground, I've got no idea what they are. No idea why we're going over that. Looks like boards. Yeah, no idea where that's come from or why it's there. Anyway, there's 100 people doing this race. It's a 7 p.m. Monday evening. Mondays are when the Zwift Monthly League races change. So you tend to get loads of people diving because they want to get it out of the way or get stuck in, if anything. So there's 100 people off the start line. Our front group, I mean, there must be 55 of us at least. Minimap, top right, you can see that there's a front group, a guy ridden off the front. I mean, that guy has balls the size of Big Ben, because I don't know why you'd be riding off the front on lap 1 of 4. I speed things up a bit here as well, guys. It's not always that interesting. Anyway, we catch up that single guy and we leave the rest of the group behind, but there's still 55 of us in this front peloton. As usual, Swifty start, hard off the start, 300 odd watt average for a while to find your way into the peloton. And other than that, once we make our way through and we just kind of dive all the way down Lower Thames Street, down onto Embankment, and then we hook the right after we go under, I can't remember what bridge it is. I want to say what's the one with the railway station by the London Eye? Anyway, we hook a right, and then we head up into actually the course. Oh, so it is 3 loops. It's just a really long lead-in. So 3 laps on a long lead-in. So this will actually be the first, I want to say, like minor gradient change, minor hill. So I knew that. I knew it was coming. I moved to the front, cover the move, just because I knew this might split. During the actual race, I didn't have time to check whether this actually split the group. A few guys using their power-ups up here, and the wattage just changes just slightly, 450. A couple of the guys leading off the front. Recently been informed that these feather is best used on an incline, which makes perfect sense. Only a 5% gradient. There's James. James, big hello, because I know you might end up watching this. I see you actually take the victory at the end, so one to kind of keep an eye on. I can't actually point out exactly which avatar you are, but I think you're Scottish, and I think you're one with the swords on the back of your jersey. Managed to hold on to the group coming up that hill. You can see that it kind of really spreads out. Minimap top right spreads out, so I didn't have to worry about trying to kind of hold on to the front 10-15 guys. It was always going to bunch back up. So this is the corner that I kind of really want to emphasize how much of a difference you can use, take advantage of like Zwift's game dynamics. Oh, look, the group does split up slightly on the mini map. That's good. I just couldn't really pay attention during the racing. But on this, basically, my little secret tip is putting in wattage coming into these U-turn corners, because I think basically, I think the way that the game dynamics work is that because it sees it as a really hard corner or a sharp corner, I didn't actually do it on that one, but because it sees it as a sharp corner, it basically means that if you're holding 200 watts and you go into the corner and you come round it, it kind of makes you fall back because it kind of uses the wattage to get you around the corner, if that makes sense. So all I did was put wattage going and like really increase my wattage, drop another 100 watts on for like a second, and you basically get kicked around the corner because the game dynamics treats you a little bit differently, and you kind of get spat out the front. And I do it a few times. I do it on that corner and then this corner up the top coming up, and unfortunately I fast forwarded this because it's part of the slow part of the race where it's not actually that interesting. Later parts in the race I actually just skip through because it's a big front group, and you can see that like I just put a few little extra wattage down. You end up near the front on the ride, but there'll be some really good examples of it probably on the next lap. Well, I hope so on the next lap, otherwise I'm completely conning you. But 100%, it's definitely worthwhile trying. Just to describe it to you, if you are coming to a U-turn, if you're coming to a really sharp bend, drop the wattage, drop some watts before going into it, because everyone else carries their watts through, everyone else just stays on the same wattage. Put an extra turn in and you get twice the bump out of the kind of force of coming around a corner. And it definitely works. I do it a lot. I have these little Zwift tactics that I like to kind of play around with. It doesn't make me a good cyclist, it just means that I probably cycle on Zwift too much, but it does help. But this is the interesting part of the course because this is the backside of the loop, so we're coming to the end of effectively what is the first lap after the world's longest lead-in. And this is the slight incline, and I got caught out here. You can see I'm sat at the back of the group holding not very high wattage, and I realised there's a bit of an incline coming up. I have to get my arse in gear because this is going to break the group up. A few guys dropping the power-ups. You see some fire socks, which is a indication of people just putting down some higher wattage. I can't remember what it is exactly, but fire socks, you leave a trail of fire every time you increase your wattage by a certain percentage. You can see the group getting broken up. I just basically caught it a little bit late. I was a little bit worried about it splitting here, and you can see that like it kind of looks like it might split behind me. But then so we get really strung out, and but no one really rides off the top, thank God, otherwise I would have been really struggling. But I hold on to it and I come through the group, and I'm sat in the group here, all happy, fine and dandy. I think, because it was quite strung out, I think most people just come back through and everyone's happy and everyone's good. But the wattage comes back off. That tends to be what happened in this race. Is we'd ride hard for the certain points, and then the wattage would come back off and everyone would recover. So it was quite cash. Here comes the corner. I'm sat on the outside, not great positioning. I think I remember thinking that if I drop back a little bit, I might get a better position on the corner and sit on the inside. It does look like on the mini map we've drop a few watts coming in, 300 and something watts, boom, 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 kick through, and then and then I just get pushed right up to the front. Tell me that's not a cheat code. Tell me, you see, I put and rewind that bit, drop it back, I go up to about 300 watts, and then I come right off, and I just get pushed straight to the front. Interesting, guys, huh? No? Because I used that very well on my last lap. And that's not me dogging out the watts. That's not me throwing down watt bombs. That's just rewind it, have a little look. I take it up to 300 watts just before the corner. Game dynamics swings me around the corner and then pushes me out the front. Well, you're kind of in luck because this is coming up to, this isn't actually the last lap. This is the end of the second lap. So the time I do this best is actually on the final lap before we come into the end of the loop. I've cut out a load of this race because it went on for a bit. Again, just drop a few watts, and then the game dynamics it just pushes you forward, and look, you just come off the watts again. Again, I just find it really funny. It definitely feels like it's something that works. I think if you were to be sat back here now and then just put in 300 watts, I don't think you'd move up to the front quite in the same way. I think that's my point that I'm trying to get across, is that you get more bang for your buck on your wattage when you put it into those U-turn corners or sharp corners, because the game dynamics spit you out the front. Whereas if I was to do that now, yes, I'd move up the group. I just don't think it would have the same effect. Maybe something to work, but 100% I feel like it's a bit of a cheat code coming into these corners, because it's like a half turn on the pedals, full turn on the pedals, with a bit of oomph. There's me messaging the group, telling James that I'm still in with a shout, and I'm still up front with the group. You see that it's kind of split down, and we've gone from maybe the 50 odd that we started with down to maybe 30. Could be 30 riders. Okay, guys, look, this is it. This is coming into the final lap. I don't record the whole final lap because, again, I just thought I'd miss some of it out because it does get a little bit boring. So this is it. This is the final straight. So we're doing the section where it's going to be business time next time we come round. This is the second of third laps as we come over the course, over the, there's the finish line as we come over the start-finish, or the finish line, not the start line. God, got that all wrong. Anyway, oh yeah, someone goes pack of 34, which is pretty good. This is the finish, and the wattage is quite slow coming through here, or quite low coming through here. Felt like it was all pretty reasonable. But that's kind of to be expected. I think get a cheeky power up going into the final loop, or the second half of it. And look, I got myself a aero power up, which is probably the best thing you can have coming into the last loop. Just have to make sure I can make this final climb coming up here without using my power up, because I'm going to need it. What you could have done is use your power up going up this climb and then pick up a second one just before you go over the finish. I think that's what some people do. I decide I'm going to stick with the aero. I'll be honest with you guys, once again, like, I've come back to running. I'm doing a lot of treadmill work, and I just don't think my head was really in the game for this one. I was just very happy to sit at the back and enjoy the ride. Plus, it wasn't a massively exciting course. It's pretty much dead flat. 22k, 13.6 miles, with this small little incline here coming up. So drop the wattage. Here we go, and guys, don't have a go at me. 300-400 watts is quite a lot for me. 400 watts. Hold it. I wanted to get my positioning. So this is when I started realizing we're 1.3 miles out. So what's that? 2 and a bit K out. Wanted to make sure my positioning was good. Wanted to make sure I didn't get dropped into, or I didn't get dropped coming off the top of the hill, and I was just at least in with a shout. So these guys move off quite quick, so I kind of go with them, cover the move. Once again, I think you could have easily just sat back and not had to worry. I think a lot of the guys who... I wish my my map on the right my names on the right just aren't working. Nothing is... it should have my name and then my wattage and things like that. It's just not working for me, the list of wattage and names on the right, which is really frustrating. So here we go, guys. This is me nailing this last U-turn corner on a little bit of a cheat code. Tell me what you think, right? So we're coming through this corner, 180 watts, 190 watts. I know this corner's coming up. I know that I've dropped quite far back in the group because I had to recover after that little hill climb. So I put in a little bit of wattage. That's 300 watts. Okay, and then I come back down, and then I kick. I should kick 360, 400 watts. And then it just literally just spits me right out the front. I know that was I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, you're kicking and you're putting in wattage. I just don't think the game would respond in the same way if you were to do that on a dead flat straight. I just think it really kind of, those U-turns, it really spits you out if you put some effort going into them. I didn't want to ride off the front. There was no way I was going to hold that for a K. So, if I was a phenomenally stronger rider, I would have tried to go a little bit earlier, but I'm not. So here we are. I got my buddy Rob in the game again on the race. He's in the purple kit on the left with the GXY, the Galaxy kit. You'll see him come flying past. I think James is the guy in the purple and the blue kit with the swords on his back. It makes sense, being looks like he's from Scotland, and I think you mentioned that earlier during the chat. Pace ramps up. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, right, let's just gun it. 0.3 of a mile. I'm not I'm not a cyclist that can gun it, but here we go. A few guys kick off. All the guys go. They drop the wattage. I hit 170 HR. I couldn't go any higher. I was absolutely balls. I was completely foobar. Dropped my aero. boost, go for the line, just trying to hold it. I'm pretty much going backwards, but I really enjoyed it. It was a good fun race, and I'm hoping that's a little tip. I want to get your thoughts on that tip. Does that work? As we cross the finish line, I'm 24th. I'll take that, guys. Pretty happy with it. Good big person race. Love the OG races so far. And I might have to have a few days rest and then give that one another go. Drop a comment, guys, if you think that is a cheat code. I will see you on the next one.